Good day all. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the illustrative problems under Unit 2 of GE8151 problem solving and Python programming. So listed here are the illustrative problem. So we'll discuss these topics one by one. First one, it is the exchange the values of two variables. So this is the idea. So we are going to consider two variables. The two variables are holding two values. So say for example, initially A is holding the value 5 and the variable B is holding the value 7. So we need to exchange these value. So after that process is said to be swapping. Exchanging or swapping both denotes the same meaning. So after we swap the values, when we refer the variable A, we should get 7, and when we refer the variable B, we should get the value of 5. So this is the concept of exchange, or we can call it as swapping. So for doing so, few concepts that we should know in Python to start programming. The first one is we should know what a variable is, and second one is how to use the input function to get input from the user. And the third one is print function, that is for printing the messages or values in the output screen. And the fourth concept is the tuple assignment, which is a topic listed in unit 2. So if we know all these topics, then we shall easily write a program for performing the swapping of two values. So first one is a variable. So what a variable is? It is simply a placeholder where we can store values. And input function, so this is a built-in function in Python that we can use to get value from the user. So when we use this input function, it will pause the program and wait for the user input. So once the user inputs any value, then the value will be taken into the program. And the third one is the print function. So that is also a built-in function used to print message or values of a variable. And fourth one is tuple assignment, which means in a single statement, it is possible to assign more than one values to more than one variables. So this is the idea of exchanging the values of two variables. So let us jump into the new Jupyter notebook and see how to code for this problem. Okay, so here we shall start the coding, and right now I am typing the title. So this is the title that we are going to work on, and for this we shall start coding by printing the title of this program. For that I'm going to use a print function. So this is how I'm using it. So inside the print function, so this is just a message. So inside that print function, and inside that single quotation, whatever we type, that will be considered as a string literal, and it will be displayed as in the output screen. So here I'm going to type exchange of values. So this is the title I just wanted to give. And now for doing this exchange, we actually require two variables. So let us get the values of two variables from the user by using the input function. So here I'm going to use a variable called value1. So for this, I'm going to get input from the user. So I'm using this input function. So inside that input function, so whatever I type inside that single quotation, that will be printed as message. So here I'm going to type enter the first value, and the input function always return a string, but we wanted a value, a integer value in this variable. So we need to convert that string into an integer by using this int function. So in the same way, we are going to get the value for second variable called value2 using the same concept, int of input of, and here we shall type the same message, enter the second value. So after executing these statements, actually the interpreter will get two values, and those two values will be stored in this variable value 1 and value 2. So let us display these two values first, so that we could actually see what are the values that are available in the variables before the process of exchanging. So I'm here going to type a message called before exchanging the values of variables are. So this is a message that I wanted to display, and the values I'm going to print here is value 1 and value 2, right? So if we simply print this, only the values will be displayed, right? So still more detail I wanted to add here. So I'm just giving a name to the first value. So it is going to display value 1 is equal to whatever value that is available in value 1, that will be displayed. In the same way, I'm going to use another string literal called value 2. So this is for displaying whatever value this variable holds, that will be displayed in this place. So whatever we type inside the single quotation, that is just for printing in the output screen, and whatever variable we use here, this will actually be replaced by the value of it. Okay, so I hope up to this statement it is clear. So we haven't used any difficult concepts. So how to use this print function, and how to use this input function, and how to use this int of type conversion. Only these concepts are simple concepts we used up to here. And the next statement is the actual place we are going to do that swapping process. And here I'm going to use a single statement, so which takes value 1 comma value 2. So this is what I'm going to write here, and equal to is a symbol which actually assigns. It is an assignment operator. So left hand side it is going to be the variable names of the variables, and right hand side also we are going to write the same thing, but the order is going to differ, right? So now this is called tuple assignment, right? In the left hand side two variables are there, in the right hand side also two variables are there. So in Python it is possible to swap the values of variables in a single statement called tuple assignment, and this is that statement. So what happens when this statement get executed is, the first in the right hand side, whatever variable is available here, the value of this variable will be assigned to the first value in the left hand side. The same way, the second variable, right, value 2, whatever value is available here, that will be assigned to this variable called value 2. So once this statement gets executed, we'll get the values swapped. So to make sure that the values are swapped, we shall use the same print message and check what are the values that are available in those variables. So I'm just copying that same thing, and here I'm going to type after exchanging the values of variable r. So nothing I have changed here, everything is the same. So our expected output will be, so before exchanging, if we have the values in one order, after this tuple assignment, it is expected that the values get swapped, right? And I'm going to add a final print statement just to tell the program ends. And that's it. So let us check whether this is working. Okay, so after execution, it is asking me to enter the first value. So the first value I'm entering here as 20, and let us enter the second value as 50, right? So when I hit the enter button, so all the statements gets executed, and our expected thing is it has to display what are the values before swapping or before exchanging, and what are the values after exchanging. So let us check it, right? So this is what we have got, and you could see the values 1 is having 20 before exchanging, and value 2 is having 50. And after the tuple assignment statement, we could see after exchanging, the value 1 becomes 50 and value 2 becomes 20. And that's it. We have done with the first illustrative problem called exchange the values of two variables. I hope you understood this. So let us switch back to the second problem. And the second one is distance between 2 points. So let us see what is the idea. So before going for coding, we have to understand what the problem is. So usually a point is denoted with two coordinate values x and y. So we have a line, we have 2 points here. One point is denoted by x1 comma y1, and another point is denoted by x2 comma y2. So if we want to calculate the distance between these 2 points, we have to apply this formula. And the formula is to calculate the distance. The formula is the square root of y2 minus y1 the whole square plus x2 minus x1 the whole square. So this is the idea. So for this, we are supposed to write a Python program. So what are the concepts that we should know before start coding for this problem? And this is it. So in a simple method, we shall see two different methods for approaching the same problem. So one is we shall use the math module, the power function which is available in the math module, and the sqrt function. And we have to get these four values from the user as input. For that, we should know how to use this input function and print function. Of course, it is necessary to know how to print the output in the output screen. So this is the idea. So let us get back to the Jupyter notebook for solving the problem in Python coding. So here we are going to start the second concept. So it is the idea of finding distance between 2 points. So we shall start by printing the title of this program here, and it is distance between 2 points. And to work with and to start the program, we have to get the values of 2 points, which are basically x1 y1 and x2 and y2. So let us try to get these values from the user. So x1, the same thing, I'm going to get input from the user as an integer. So I'm first using this int function. So inside that input function is for getting user input, and here I'm just typing enter the value of x1. So the same statement I'm just going to copy and paste and modify it for other values. So the second value should be y1, and the third value should be x2, and the fourth value that we need is y2. So accordingly we change the input message. It should be x1 y1 and x2 y2. So these four statements will get the input for this problem, that is the x and y coordinates of 2 points from the user. And after that we shall directly apply the formula to calculate the distance. And as we know the formula, it is square root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. So I'm just writing the first part, which is x2 is one variable and x1 is another variable. So for square, we shall use this exponent operator, arithmetic exponent operator, right? So this is one part, that is x2 minus x1 the whole square, and plus we shall write y2 minus y1 the whole square. And all these has to be inside the square root. So for that I'm going to enclose the whole expression, and the power I'm going to mention here is 0.5. And the reason is, so square root can be written in forms of power of 1 by 2. So that idea I'm using here as the formula. So once we apply this formula, the expression gets evaluated and the result will be stored in the variable called distance. So we shall print first the values of that point, and we shall print the output distance. So first let us print the values of those points. So we just printing first point, the two values that we wanted to print here. So inside that, so between these two values, if we want to make a space, this is how we shall use it. And similarly, we shall print the second point. And the second points are with the values x2 and y2. So we have displayed the 2 points and now displaying the distance. So which is available in the variable called distance. And finally, to tell the program ends, I'm including another print statement with the message program ends. So let us check whether the program executes and gives the expected output. So it is asking the value for x1. So I'm giving the value as 50 here. And for y1, I'm using the value 400. And for x2, I'm going to change the value. So it is going to be 120. And for y2, if I provide the value 400, which means the y coordinate is same, and the distance between these 2 points can be easily calculated by subtracting the values of x1 and x2. For example, if I give the y2 value as 400, the distance between these 2 points should be 70. If we got the output as 70, then our program works perfectly. So I'm giving the value as 400 here. And can you see the output? The distance value we have got is 70. So that's it. So we just identify the method for solving the second illustrative problem called distance between 2 points. So in this method, we could see another variation. So for these thing, so one is this exponential operator can be replaced by the power method which is available in the math module. And instead of doing this exponential with 0.5, the whole expression can be enclosed within a function called square root. So that can also be done, but this is a simple way of calculating the distance. So let us move back to our presentation and see what is that third illustrative problem. And it is circulating the values of n variables. So for doing this thing, we should know the concepts like what is a list and what is a slicing operator, and as usual how to use apparent function and how to use this input function. And this is the idea, circulating the values of n variables. For that we shall consider a list, and here as an example we have taken the list is containing 5 values starting from 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. And what is the logic of this program is we have to get an input from the user, the number of values to be circulated in the list. For example, if this is the input list and the user want to circulate the values for 2 times, then we should get an output like this. The first 2 values get circulated to the last position, and this is it. Similarly, if a user wants to circulate the list for 4 times, we should get this output. The 4 values should be at the end of the list, and the starting value will be 50. And here I have listed the circulation starting from first value, second value, and up to the last value. So this is the idea, and let us go back to our workspace and start coding for this problem too. So now we are discussing the third illustrative problem under unit 3, which is circulation of values in a list. Okay, so this has to be a markdown, that's why that error is. So now as usual we shall print the title of this program as circulation of values in a list, and all these has to be enclosed inside the single quotation. And for this we shall have a list for working. So let us assume our list having the name as my list, and the values of our list shall be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 and 100. So let us consider this is our list, and according to the user inputs, that is how many values to circulate, we shall present the circulated list as the output. So let us get the input value from the user. So let us have that variable name as circulate value. So for that I'm going to use the int function an input function, enter how many values to circulate. So after getting that value, we just wanted to display the circulated list. So I'm going to use a print function to display circulated list. So how we are going to do that circulation is we are going to use the slicing operator. So how to use that slicing operator? Okay. So slicing. So this is an example. I would like to show you how to use the slicing operator. So for that, let us consider um, list in name of my list one, which is having 4 values, right? And I just wanted to get these 2 elements from the list. For that, I shall apply the slicing operator, and the list elements can be indexed, right? So it is indexed starting from the first value with the index 0, and second value with index 1, third value with index 2, and the fourth value with index 3. So I'm just writing a statement like my list 1 of 2 colon. So I just wanted to print what this my list of 2 colons returns. So let us execute this and see. So can you see we have got 30 and 40. So how we have got that? The starting, the slicing operator, the starting value denotes the start position of the index, right? So here the index starts from 0. So 10 is referred using the index 0, 20 will be referred using the index 1, and 30 will be referred using the index 2. So as we want to retrieve the values 30 and 40, we have just used the starting values index, and we no need to specify the end index. So in Python it will be automatically taken. So whatever value is available inside the list, all those will be taken if that second value is not available in the slicing. So say for example, if the list contains the elements 50, 60 and 70, if we try to run this, we'll get the elements starting from 30 and all the way up to the end of the list. All the elements will be retrieved. So let us check by executing this code again. So this is it, right? So if we use 2 colon, we'll get all the elements starting from the index 2 up to the last thing, right? And similarly, if we use inside the same thing, if we haven't specified the starting index and if we specified the stopping index, what will be written is it will start from the first element of the list, and it will try to retrieve all the elements up to the index value 2 but not including it. So in our example, it will try to retrieve all the elements starting with index 0, index 1. So two values we'll get. The index element at the index 2 will not be considered, right? So if we try to execute these things, we'll get the first 2 elements, right? So let us execute and see. Can you see the output? So if I use 2 colon, I shall get starting from the index 2 and up to the last element from the list. And if I use colon and 2, it will retrieve the starting elements from the list up to, but not including the index number which is provided in the slicing operator. So this is the idea that we are going to use inside the circulation, right? So in this coding, we have got one value from the user, that is how many values to circulate. So this value we are going to use for printing the circulated list. So for displaying the output, we shall use the print function, and inside the print function, so the name of our list is my list. So I'm going to use that my list, and inside this I'm going to use the value that we have got from the user. So it is available in this name. So I just wanted to use that name followed by colon. So what is the meaning of this thing? One value is provided as the starting value, which means if the user has given the value as 4, it will try to get the element at the fourth index. In this example, 50 is available in the fourth index, right? So it will try to retrieve all the elements starting from the index 4 and all the way up to the end of the list. So we'll get this, right? So to this we have to append the beginning of the list, right? So for that, what we have to use? We have to use colon followed by the number of values, and that's it. And as usual, we shall print that the program ends. So let us try executing this code and see whether we are getting the expected output. And it is asking me how many values to circulate, and I'm just giving the value as 4, and it just gives me the circulated list. So can you see what is missing in this output? We have not displayed what is that input list, right? So if we displayed it, then only we could see whether we have got the circulated list as different from the input list. So one modification I'm going to do in this program, that is to display the input list. So for that, I'm going to use a print function, and the message is input list of values. So for this, I just wanted to print the input list which is available in the name my list, right? So now let us execute this and see. So now after displaying the message, it is giving input list of values. So here there is one mistake, so we shall correct it. So input list is given here, and now I'm giving, I just wanted to circulate 3 values, and you could see the first 3 values are appended to the last one, right? So here the values is a mistake, so we should correct it. Okay, so that's it. So if we execute that, and now I'm giving the value as 5, and we can see this is the output. I hope you understood all the concepts that we discussed. So that's it. Illustrative problems on Unit 3. Thank you all.